Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A game played with rackets by 2 or 4 players who hit a ball back and forth over a net that divides the court. A game played with rackets by 2 or 4 players who hit a ball back and forth over a net that divides the court. An athletic game played on a court. An ancient form of tennis played in a 4-walled court. Badminton played with 1 person on each side. Tennis played with 1 person on each side. Badminton played with 2 players on each side. Tennis played with 2 players on each side. An ancient form of tennis played in a 4-walled court. Playing tennis for money. An ancient form of tennis played in a 4-walled court. Tennis, the final point needed to win a set in tennis. A fault that occurs when the server in tennis fails to keep both feet behind the baseline. Benefit resulting from some event or action. It turned out to my advantage. The quality of having a superior or more favorable position. The experience gave him the advantage over me. Give an advantage to. This system advantages the rich. Tennis, first point scored after deuce. A tennis game won on the opponent's service. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. The average return was about 5%. The key on electric typewriters or computer keyboards that causes a carriage return and a line feed. Document giving the tax collector information about the taxpayer's tax liability. His gross income was enough that he had to file a tax return. Go back to a previous state. Elect again. A coming to or returning home. On his return from Australia, we gave him a welcoming party. Happening again, especially at regular intervals. The return of spring. Be restored. Her old vigor returned. Give or supply. Pass down. Pay back. Go back to something earlier. Getting something back again. Bring back to the point of departure. The act of someone appearing again. Answer back. Give back. A quick reply to a question or remark, especially a witty or critical one. Be inherited by. The land returned to the family. The occurrence of a change in direction back in the opposite direction. A reciprocal group action. In return, we gave them as good as we got. American football. The act of running back the ball after a kickoff or punt or interception or fumble. A tennis stroke that sends the ball back to the other player. He won the point on a cross-court return. Go or come back to place, condition, or activity where one has been before. Return to your native land. Make a return. Return a kickback. Return in kind. Return a compliment. Return to a previous position, in mathematics. The point returned to the interior of the figure. Submit, a report, etc., to someone in authority. The act of going back to a prior location. They set out on their return to the base camp. Lose a game in which one is serving. Tennis. A score consisting of winning a game when your opponent was serving. He was up 2 breaks in the second set. Breaking of hard tissue such as bone. The break seems to have been caused by a fall. Enter someone's virtual or real property in an unauthorized manner, usually with the intent to steal or commit a violent act. Be released or become known of news. Fail to agree with. Be in violation of, as of rules or patterns. An act of delaying or interrupting the continuity. It was presented without commercial breaks. Lessen in force or effect. Break a fall. An escape from jail. The breakout was carefully planned. Interrupt a continued activity. Force out or release suddenly and often violently something pent up. Break into tears. Any frame in which a bowler fails to make a strike or spare. The break in the 8th frame cost him the match. Go to pieces. Ruin completely. Act in disregard of laws, rules, contracts, or promises. Break a law. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. Do a break dance. Kids were break dancing at the street corner. Prevent completion. Break off the negotiations. Become separated into pieces or fragments. Make known to the public information that was previously known only to a few people or that was meant to be kept a secret. Terminate. Break a lucky streak. Surpass in excellence. Break a record. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The act of breaking something. The breakage was unavoidable. Happen. Break down, literally or metaphorically. A pause from doing something, as work. We took a 10-minute break. Stop operating or functioning. Fracture a bone of. Reduce to bankruptcy. My daughter's fancy wedding is going to break me. Assign to a lower position. Reduce in rank. Geology. A crack in the Earth's crust resulting from the displacement of one side with respect to the other. Break a piece from a whole. Break a branch from a tree. Make submissive, obedient, or useful. The horse was tough to break. A time interval during which there is a temporary cessation of something. Move away or escape suddenly. Nobody can break out. This prison is high security. A personal or social separation, as between opposing factions. They hoped to avoid a break in relations. Some abrupt occurrence that interrupts an ongoing activity. There was a break in the action when a player was hurt. Destroy the completeness of a set of related items. The book dealer would not break the set. Cease an action temporarily. Let's break for lunch. An unexpected piece of good luck. He finally got his big break. An abrupt change in the tone or register of the voice, as at puberty or due to emotion. Then there was a break in her voice. A sudden dash. He made a break for the open door. Be broken in. If the new teacher won't break, we'll add some stress. Become punctured or penetrated. Cause the failure or ruin of. This play will either make or break the playwright. Cause to give up a habit. Change direction suddenly. Change suddenly from one tone quality or register to another. Come forth or begin from a state of latency. Come into being. Come to an end. Crack. Of the male voice in puberty. His voice is breaking, he should no longer sing in the choir. Curl over and fall apart in surf or foam, of waves. Destroy the integrity of, usually by force, cause to separate into pieces or fragments. Diminish or discontinue abruptly. Emerge from the surface of a body of water. Exchange for smaller units of money. I had to break a $100 bill just to buy the candy. Fall sharply. Find a flaw in. Break an alibi. Find the solution or key to. Break the code. Give up. Break cigarette smoking. Happen or take place. Things have been breaking pretty well for us in the past few months. Interrupt the flow of current in. Break a circuit. Invalidate by judicial action. Make a rupture in the ranks of the enemy or one's own by quitting or fleeing. Make the opening shot that scatters the balls. Pierce or penetrate. Render inoperable or ineffective. Scatter or part. Separate from a clinch, in boxing. The occurrence of breaking. The break in the dam threatened the valley. The opening shot that scatters the balls in billiards or pool. Undergo breaking. Vary or interrupt a uniformity or continuity. Weaken or destroy in spirit or body. Tennis. A score consisting of winning a game when your opponent was serving. A wrong action attributable to bad judgment or ignorance or inattention. I could understand his English in spite of his grammatical faults. An imperfection in an object or machine. The quality of being inadequate or falling short of perfection. He knew his own faults much better than she did. Geology. A crack in the Earth's crust resulting from the displacement of one side with respect to the other. They built it right over a geological fault. Put or pin the blame on. Electronics. Equipment failure attributable to some defect in a circuit, loose connection or insulation failure or short circuit, etc. It took much longer to find the fault than to fix it. Responsibility for a bad situation or event. It was John's fault. Sports. A serve that is illegal, e.g., that lands outside the prescribed area. He served too many double faults. Of racket strokes, made with palm facing direction of stroke. Sports. A return made with the palm of the hand facing the direction of the stroke, as in tennis or badminton or squash. Sports. Hard straight return made on the forehand side, as in tennis or badminton or squash. Sports. A return made with the palm of the hand facing the direction of the stroke, as in tennis or badminton or squash. Sports. A return made with the palm of the hand facing the direction of the stroke, as in tennis or badminton or squash. Your occupation or line of work. He's in the plumbing game. A secret scheme to do something, especially something underhand or illegal. I saw through his little game from the start. Willing to face danger. Place a bet on. Disabled in the feet or legs. A game leg. A contest with rules to determine a winner. You need 4 people to play this game. An amusement or pastime. They played word games. Animal hunted for food or sport. A single play of a sport or other contest. The game lasted 2 hours. Frivolous or trifling behavior. For actors, memorizing lines is no game. Games, the score at a particular point or the score needed to win. The game is 6-all. Tennis. A division of play during which one player serves. The flesh of wild animals that is used for food. The game equipment needed in order to play a particular game. The child received several games for his birthday. Tennis. The final point needed to win a match, especially in tennis. The feat of mustering strength for a renewed effort. He singled to start a rally in the 9th inning. Harass with persistent criticism or carping. A large gathering of people intended to arouse enthusiasm. Call to arms. Of military personnel. Return to a former condition. Gather or bring together. Gather. Sports. An unbroken sequence of several successive strokes. After a short rally, Connors won the point. A marked recovery of strength or spirits during an illness. An automobile race run over public roads. Mate with. Male animals serve the females for breeding purposes. Be used by, as of a utility. The sewage plant served the neighboring communities. Be sufficient. Be adequate, either in quality or quantity. Nothing else will serve. Work for or be a servant to. May I serve you? Serve a purpose, role, or function. The tree stump serves as a table. Sports. A stroke that puts the ball in play. His powerful serves won the game. Deliver a warrant or summons to someone. Help to some food. Help with food or drink. I served him 3 times, and after that he helped himself. Promote, benefit, or be useful or beneficial to. Art serves commerce. Spend time in prison or in a labor camp. Provide, usually but not necessarily food. We serve meals for the homeless. Contribute or conduce to. The scandal served to increase his popularity. Devote, part of, one's life or efforts to, as of countries, institutions, or ideas. She served the art of music. Do duty or hold offices, serve in a specific function. He served as head of the department for 3 years. Do military service. She served in Vietnam. Put the ball into play. It was Agassiz' turn to serve. Mate with. Be used by, as of a utility. A means of serving. Tableware consisting of a complete set of articles, silver or dishware, for use at table. Sports. A stroke that puts the ball in play. The act of delivering a writ or summons upon someone. He accepted service of the subpoena. Periodic maintenance on a car or machine. The act of public worship following prescribed rules. The Sunday service. The act of mating by male animals. A force that is a branch of the armed forces. Canadian writer, born in England, who wrote about life in the Yukon Territory, 1874 to 1958. A company or agency that performs a public service, subject to government regulation. An act of help or assistance. He did them a service. Employment in or work for another. He retired after 30 years of service. Law. The acts performed by an English feudal tenant for the benefit of his lord which formed the consideration for the property granted to him. Make fit for use. Service my truck. The performance of duties by a waiter or servant. That restaurant has excellent service. Work done by one person or group that benefits another. Budget separately for goods and services. The tender meat of the loin muscle on each side of the vertebral column. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Sell cheaper than one's competition. A cut made underneath to remove material. A notch cut in the trunk of tree in order to determine the direction of its fall. Cut away material from the underside of an object, so as to leave an overhanging portion in relief. Cut away the underpart of. Undercut a vein of ore. Cut obliquely into a tree, below the main cut and on the side toward which the tree will fall. Strike the ball, in golf, tennis, or hockey obliquely downward so as to give a backspin or elevation to the shot. The material removed by a cut made underneath. A major strategic headquarters of NATO. Safeguards an area extending from Norway to Turkey. Proteolytic enzyme that converts angiotensin I into angiotensin II. Someone who is dazzlingly skilled in any field. Succeed at easily. Of the highest quality. An ace reporter. The smallest whole number or a numeral representing this number. A serve that the receiver is unable to reach. One of 4 playing cards in a deck having a single pip on its face. Play a hole in one stroke. Score an ace against. He aced his opponents. Serve an ace against someone. The omission that is made when an editorial change shortens a written passage. Weed out unwanted or unnecessary things. We had to lose weight, so we cut the sugar from our diet. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. His cut in the lining revealed the hidden jewels. Made neat and tidy by trimming. In baseball, a batter's attempt to hit a pitched ball. He took a vicious cut at the ball. Used of rates or prices, reduced usually sharply. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Cut bourbon. Cut and assemble the components of. Cut recording tape. Used of grass or vegetation, cut down with a hand implement or machine. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The act of cutting something into parts. His cuts were skillful. Refuse to acknowledge. She cut him dead at the meeting. Turn sharply. Change direction abruptly. The car cut to the left at the intersection. Be able to manage or manage successfully. She could not cut the long days in the office. Mixed with water. Sold cut whiskey. A refusal to recognize someone you know. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. The barber gave him a good cut. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Cuts do not bother a good tennis player. Style and tailor in a certain fashion. Cut a dress. With parts removed. The drastically cut film. A wound made by cutting. He put a bandage over the cut. Create by duplicating data. Cut a disk. Cease, stop. Cut the noise. Cut off the testicles of male animals such as horses. A piece of meat that has been cut from an animal carcass. Make out an issue. Cut a ticket. A trench resembling a furrow that was made by erosion or excavation. A remark capable of wounding mentally. The unkindest cut of all. Intentionally fail to attend. Cut class. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. He played the first cut on the CD. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. He insisted that we give him the last cut before every deal. Of a male animal, having the testicles removed. A cut horse. Cause to stop operating by disengaging a switch. Cut the engine. A canal made by erosion or excavation. Allow incision or separation. This bread cuts easily. An unexcused absence from class. He was punished for taking too many cuts in his math class. A share of the profits. Everyone got a cut of the earnings. A step on some scale. He is a cut above the rest. Discharge from a group. The coach cut 2 players from the team. Dissolve by breaking down the fat of. Soap cuts grease. Divide a deck of cards at random into 2 parts to make selection difficult. Wayne cut. Fashioned or shaped by cutting. A well-cut suit. Fell by sawing, hew. The Vietnamese cut a lot of timber while they occupied Cambodia. Film. An immediate transition from one shot to the next. The cut from the accident scene to the hospital seemed too abrupt. Form by probing, penetrating, or digging. Cut a hole. Form or shape by cutting or incising. Cut paper dolls. Function as a cutting instrument. This knife cuts well. Give the appearance or impression of. Cut a nice figure. Grow through the gums. The new tooth is cutting. Have a reducing effect. This cuts into my earnings. Have grow through the gums. The baby cut a tooth. Hit a ball with a spin so that it turns in the opposite direction. Cut a ping pong ball. Make an abrupt change of image or sound. Cut from one scene to another. Make an incision or separation. Cut along the dotted line. Make a recording of. Cut the songs. Move one's fist. His opponent cut upward toward his chin. Pass directly and often in haste. We cut through the neighbor's yard to get home sooner. Pass through or across. The boat cut the water. Penetrate injuriously. The glass from the shattered windshield cut into her forehead. Perform or carry out. Cut a caper. Reap or harvest. Cut grain. Record a performance on a medium. Cut a record. Separated into parts or laid open or penetrated with a sharp edge or instrument. The cut surface was modeled. Separate with or as if with an instrument. Shorten as if by severing the edges or ends of. Cut my hair. Stop filming. Cut a movie scene. The act of reducing the amount or number. The mayor proposed extensive cuts in the city budget. The style in which a garment is cut. A dress of traditional cut. Of pages of a book, having the folds of the leaves trimmed or slit. The cut pages of the book. Tennis. 2 successive faults in serving resulting in the loss of the point.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.